All right. It's Deadman's Tome Podcast with your host, Mr. Deadman, Becky, and SK. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I just finished my pre-show meditation, so I am in top shape.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. It's good to have your mind fresh. What about you, Becky? How are you doing?
Well, goodbye. Where'd Becky go?
Becky?
We lost Becky.
That's amazing.
Dang it.
How did we lose Becky?
I mean, just like that. Boom.
Is she on the call still? She's here? Oh, she probably muted herself. Ugh, she muted herself. Well,
Becky, unmute yourself.
that's what happens when you hit the bottle early. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're broadcasting live from a trailer park deep in Meth County, Texas. Got a cold one right here, tall boy. Got some Lone Star kicking back. Decided I was gonna white trash it up tonight. We have a fabulous guest tonight, Leah Cutter. Leah Cutter, how's it going?
It's going good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you. Now we'll have a chance for you to introduce yourself real fast. First, let me do a rundown. There's one thing I definitely need to. Oh, she just dropped from the call. At any time.
I'm still here.
No, not you,
Becky.
but Becky.
Becky
just
did.
dropped. Hey, see, here's the reason why she dropped SK. Remember that debate we did the last show?
Because she lost.
Yeah, she lost.
She lost the debate.
She lost the debate. Oh man!
What a poor sport! Oh my gosh!
I lost the internet too.
Yeah, see, Becky, what happened is...
Whoa, what's that?
It's the Judge Dredd program. We're rolling out the Judge Dredd program. See, we debated whether or not the death penalty should be implemented, and people said yes. Like, people are pro-death penalty. So here we go. We're starting the Judge Dredd program, starting now.
No! Oh,
Which host dies first?
you're bad.
Now and forever. No.
What?
I'm just surprised. I think people had fun with it. I think people just had fun with it. I doubled down and just.
They did.
I was
there
going
were
hard.
There were some serious responses in the comments, though.
Yeah, I don't read them.
You butted.
I brush through them. I look at them. I'm like, okay, they have a long-winded response. They're giving an essay, but you know what? It's not that kind of debate. so I'm just like, okay.
Hey, in my well thought out and very cogent and rational position on this thing, didn't even have a vote button. Of course, it would have taken like 3 pages to, identify what it was.
Yeah. See, now we got to keep it simple. All right. I think that's good. That's good. Let me stop this music again. Okay. All right. Any other announcements before we get started? I know we got Deep Fried Horror. Did I say the family edition? The Father's Day edition is out now.
Wow.
Jesus. How much beer have you had?
The pre-show beers don't count. They don't count.
They don't?
The what? Wait.
How do they not
they don't count?
Oh, no, we only start counting during the show. So, 1 sip so far. 1 sip. Yeah. None of this makes any sense now, huh? So yeah, the Father's Day edition of Deep Fried Horror is out. You can get it on Amazon, paperback. Or you could, if you want to, you just go to patreon.com. You can read it for free that way. But if you want the paperback, you have to get that on Amazon. And it's a big loaded issue. We're talking about like what, 13, 16 stories?
17.
17.
17.
Wow.
No, 16, I think. Yeah, you're right. 16 I can't count.
Stories or poems. Well, a combination.
2 poems and the rest are stories.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that word in so long.
Did you hear that, Miss Cutter? Let's see if our guest noticed that. Hey, Leah, did you see how she said that? Did you hear?
Poems.
Poetical.
Yeah. Don't worry, you can laugh at it. It's kind of a running joke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The SK has a list of Becky words.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
One other announcement. Okay, we have a private show coming this Saturday. All right, I will be taking shots of random liquids. Could be alcohol, could be beer, could be pickle juice, could be vinegar. But you got to be
water.
Yeah, it could be. My wife is gonna be like sending this to me like at random. Could be anything. But you got to be a patron. It's this Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Okay.
Please don't puke on the computer.
No promises, no guarantee. I'm gonna have a puke bucket right next to me. That's the only way I can do this. Okay.
Are you a sympathetic puker, Becky?
Yes. Oh dear God, yes. Am I ever? Yeah, I can hear it, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yuck.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I don't puke, but it probably will. So, if you want to catch that live,
God, please don't.
I want to talk to our guest.
Well, that's what we're about to do now.
She's got some cool stuff.
She does. I was looking through it. All right, Miss Leah Cutter. For those who don't know, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Leah Cutter. I am a full-time author. I write fantasy of all genres. I write science fiction, mystery. I've been published all over. I have novels. I have short stories, everything like that. I also have a line of business books, business for breakfast, bite-sized business advice, things like that. I have been writing since forever. And that's where I am. I live out in Seattle. I live on 6.5 acres of woodlands with my lovely husband, Blaze Ward, who is also a full-time writer.
Oh, wow.
And I live in a tiny house.
Oh,
like one of the special tiny houses?
It has less than 200 square feet on the base floor. It's tall enough that I have a loft, and so I live in less than 400 square feet of space.
How cool!
With somebody else?
No.
Oh, okay. About to say that would be a murder coming up soon. Sorry.
It would be. No, I adore my husband, but that doesn't mean I ever have to go and live with him. And so we have the main house where he primarily lives, and I go and I visit him on the weekends, and me and the kitty move from house to house.
Okay, wait. Is the tiny house different? Is the tiny house in the backyard of the main house?
Yes, as I said, 6.5 acres.
Okay, now for those listening,
cool.
Some might ask, is that a shed?
It was really a tough shed.
It was a shed. Okay.
It was a tough shed. However, I did the interior on it, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
So you can turn a shed. You can turn the shed from just a shed, but you can make it into a house. Like you could.
Yes.
Rebuild it. See? That's cool. I'm gonna do that with my shed on the back. Redesign it.
Only because you have to live in it most of the time because you're bad.
Yeah. I got a place to.
Obviously, this is not a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Quite the opposite.
I love my tiny house. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is my art installation. It has an amazing amount of artwork in it. I took refinished hardwood flooring and put that up on the walls. So
wow.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
It sounds wonderful. I mean, I wish I could take a look. Okay, wait. Okay. First, before you get carried away about your tiny house. All right. First, you said you're a full-time author. You know, a lot of writers listen to the show, right? And they're kind of like, the main question they seem to have is, how do you make a living off your work? How is that possible? It's like, how do you do that? So how
we are on the overwhelm the product with market model, which means that both my husband and I publish something once a month.
Okay.
So we do not run a lot of advertising. We did not start running our first ad until August of last year. So what we produce is quality material, really good blurbs, really good covers in genres that people seem to enjoy, science fiction and fantasy, and we produce a lot of product. We have all of our passive marketing in place with the covers and the blurbs and things like that. And then we just produce a tremendous amount of product.
Okay, so you're just pumping out content, product, but now the genres that you're focused on is, you said, science fiction and fantasy, right?
Correct.
Okay.
My husband primarily writes science fiction. I primarily write fantasy.
Okay. Now, is there a particular reason for that? Is there a draw to it? Is just a thriving market?
He prefers science fiction. That's what he grew up reading. That's what he likes. I prefer fantasy.
Okay. Now, do you dabble in other genres as well?
Yes, I have short stories published in like Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine.
Ooh, okay.
I've had things published in horror magazines. The Horror Writers of America had an anthology, and I have short fiction in a couple of those. So I've done a lot of different genres.
Okay. Now, any other genres, like any romance or anything like that?
I do not do romance.
Okay.
I am not a romantic person.
Okay. Now, what about
my husband is much more romantic than I am.
Okay. Okay. So no romance. No romance.
No.
Now.
Oh God, no.
All right.
Yeah, not my thing.
Okay. Cool. Well, man. Well, I got a bunch of questions here. So, like, how did you get started?
I've always written. I actually have my first journal from when I was 8 years old, and it says on the first page, second paragraph, first sentence, when I grow up, I want to be a writer. So
Okay.
I honestly don't remember a time in my life when I did not write and when I did not want to be a writer. I went to Clarion West in 1997, and I sold my first novel to New York, to Rock, in 1999. And so my first 3 novels all came out from New York. Then I stopped writing for a while. My life imploded. When I came back, the whole indie thing had happened. And so I started both feet headfirst into, at the same time, both feet headfirst into indie publishing.
Okay. And when you say indie publishing, you mean like self-publish?
Correct.
Okay. Now, do you self-publish a lot of your work?
I self-publish all of my longer work. A lot of my shorter work still gets published by traditional publishers.
Okay.
So I still sell stuff to magazines and things like that.
Okay. So you do self-publish a lot of your work, but once again, just to remind those that are listening, you are able to make a living off your work. Is that right?
Off of the fiction, correct. My husband and I, yeah.
Okay. And of course, the reason I'm asking is like asking the same question is like, just to remind people, those that are listening, it is possible. It is possible for authors to make a living off their work. You know, that's
absolutely
the constant thing people, complain about. Oh my God, it's so hard. But are there any secrets? Are there any tricks that any aspiring writer should know?
The easiest and the hardest thing in the world: button chair, fingers on keyboard, sit down, shut up, write.
But what about Facebook or Instagram?
Love it.
We both, my husband and I, have a social media presence. We both do Facebook. That's it. I blog on a regular basis, but I don't believe that my blog actually draws in people who are reading my fiction. It draws in people who read my nonfiction. Blaze does a lot of silly posts and sharing things and things like that. He doesn't really blog so much. So we have a little bit of a social media presence on Facebook, and we have our own blogs, and that's about it. We don't have Instagram, we don't have Pinterest, we don't have Twitter, none of that. We just do the regular Facebook thing and blogs.
Okay.
So you started running ads last year.
In August, yeah. And all we have run are some Amazon ads. We haven't run any Facebook or anything like that. And the Amazon ads, we call them passive ads because we set them up once and we don't look at them again. We're not tweaking. We're not doing A/B testing. We're running about 60% ROI.
Okay. Wow. And
Okay.
that is working for you. I mean, just to dig in a little bit, and you can answer this in as much detail as you want. When you say you're making a living off your work, do you have like a part-time job as well?
No, neither of us have a part-time job. We have we possibly this year. So my husband, before he quit his day job, which was in February of last year, he was working as a database architect at an IT firm in Seattle. This year, we hope to replace his exact salary.
Wow. You're going to replace his exact salary from you guys' combined work.
And by the way, an data architect makes pretty good money in this area. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That is very impressive. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you are a writer listening and you're discouraged, maybe, I wonder, is it the genre? Is horror not that thriving of a genre? Is it hard to make money in that? I kind of wonder now.
That would be my impression, that it is not as large of a genre as either science fiction or fantasy. But look at Stephen King. I mean, you can make money.
Yeah.
I just don't know how big of an audience you have and whether or not your audience is growing or shrinking.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of places, or at least the place I'm aware of that seems to be making money here and there in horror, are marketing not really as horror. Like, you could tell that they are, but their books are in different categories. Like, you can go look at other magazines and be like, wait a second, this isn't the horror category. This is like in mystery or thriller or something else, or, you know.
Exactly, and somebody stumbles into it, and so they're not marketing hard on genre, whereas we, because science fiction and fantasy are selling categories, we market hard on that genre and try to hit hard on that genre. For horror, so one of the theories that I subscribe to is that readers prefer a prescribed ending. It's one of the reasons why romance is so popular. You know what you're getting when you go walking in.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why science fiction lost some of its popularity was when in the 70s and 80s it decided to be more literary, and therefore no longer was noble bright and no longer had a prescribed ending. And so you didn't know when you came walking in if it was going to be happy or sad.
Yeah.
I would think that for horror, for the most part, you have that prescribed ending. You know things are going to end badly.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be in the mood for that.
Yeah, that's true. And I kind of wonder if people
are... The other thing is that currently, right now, one of the big hot genres is YA post-apocalyptic, where, again, everything ends badly.
Mm-hmm. So we need to write some young adult.
No.
No, don't?
Well,
but
there you have it.
Is that market gonna? Is it like a bubble now? Is it too much? Too much young adult?
Well, yes, I do believe that in some part the market is the market will be collapsing some. But it's had a good long run, right? Starting with Harry Potter, and then you moved on to Hunger Games and things like that. But that is all that very, very dark post-apocalyptic. And one of the things that we know about readers, and this has been studied for a long, long time, is that readers come in at young adult and they expect that emotional conflict. That's what a young adult reader is looking for, right?
Emotional
and then
conflict.
You get into a more of an older reader, and they want more of that sense of wonder. They want to be taken someplace. They want some of that escape. And then as you get into an older reader, they go into mystery. And so that tends to be, and again, there are lots of traditional publishers who have studied this, that tends to be the reader journey. What has happened is that you have a lot of young adult readers who went from Hunger Games, and instead of going into mystery, have gone into thriller. And so if you're writing a horror-esque thriller, I think you could corner the market.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense. That would kind of make sense why people, at least the publishers I'm aware of, authors I'm aware of, kind of market more as thriller than as horror, because it's...
Exactly.
All right. And
exactly, because you've got a whole generation of young adult readers who are coming up into that category. So my guess is that that's going to be probably one of the hot new things.
Okay, very interesting. Any other trends that you noticed that you could share with us?
Well, I was reading recently that pretty much everyone is writing climate change. Science fiction is full of climate change stories and novels and things like that. And so that appears to be the thing that's happening now.
Like a future where everything's
Netflix
in ice?
too.
Oh, okay.
Netflix is chock full of climate change storylines.
Yep. And so what's the thing after that? I don't know. It might be exploration. That was what we were kind of thinking it might be. Would be hard SF exploration with people going out into the universe and being excited about that. Part of it is going to depend on what happens with our political situation. We're not going to talk politics, but
no, we don't do that on the show.
Has contentious political things going on right now. And so I think if some of that gets resolved, yes, we'll have hard SF going out and exploring the world will come back into style. If not, we might be in for a lot more post-apocalyptic, the world is doomed.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be that for a little bit. I mean, and then that's just kind of reflecting, I guess, you know what's going on. It kind of makes sense. I mean, we would have to renew our sense of wonder.
One of the things I want to tell all the writers is that they need to be prepared. If they've studied any history of sales, they will note that next year we are going to have another contentious election in the United States. Every 4 years, when we have a contentious election in the United States, fiction sales go down.
Mm-hmm.
So if any writers that are listening to this, save your pennies now. We're planning on not making many sales from like July through December of next year.
Like that bad, like just flatline.
Yep.
Like
every
dead.
4 years, this is what has been happening.
See, I didn't. You know what? But Deadman's Tome even had a not of course not to get politics, but we had an issue called Trumpocalypse that happened around that time. It did pretty well during the election, but afterwards it sort of just fizzled out and no really gave a shit at that point because it was already done with, I guess. But everything else, not so much.
The Be Cute Press has a whole series, Alternative Truths and After the Orange, and those have been doing very, very well.
Cool. All right. Well,
more questions.
Eska, you got any other questions?
Man, I'm just trying to process all of this good information.
Well, one thing I like to do is dig into of course, your work. Now, you have a bunch of titles. So if someone's new to your work, where should they begin?
Depends on what it is that they like. Because I write all over the map, one of the things that I actually created, and you can find it on my website, leahcutter.com, there is an actual map of the sorts of things that I write. And what I did was on the up-down axis, I did time, going from distant past to faraway future. And on the left-right axes, I did energy level. Is this a deeply immersive book where you are going to fall into the world? There's not going to be a lot of things that are happening, but you're going to be completely absorbed in what you're reading. Or is this the, oh my God, the world's going to end in 17 minutes, we need to go do something now? And then I plotted out all of the books that I had, all of the novels, and I discovered that I had 5 islands. So if you sign up for my newsletter, you will actually get a copy of the Island Sampler, which contains examples from all 5 islands. And so when people say, where should we start? It's like, well, what sort of books do you like? Do you like dark epic fantasy? I have quite a few books that are like that, and I have a new trilogy that will be coming out before the end of the year. Do you like strict urban fantasy? I have one series in that and another one that's going to be coming out starting in October. Do you prefer the immersive, it's not slow paced, but it's still slower fiction? I have a series in that. Do you like science fiction? I have a new book that's coming out in that. So when people ask me what should they start with, it's always a question of what do you like to read?
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, first off, you generate so much stuff like constantly every month. Like, do you ever tire? Do you ever feel like, I don't know, like you're draining yourself?
Burnout.
Yeah.
I am not burned out at present.
Okay.
But I do a lot of things to make sure that I don't get there. For example, I get to write. I'm privileged. I totally understand that. I wake up in the morning, I'm in the tiny house, it's silent except for the birds outside. And maybe I'll look outside and there'll be a deer. Actually, Mama and her 2 fawns are hanging out right now. They were born start of May. So we've got 2 baby fawns. Frolic, I am absolutely not burned out. In terms of the publishing, this is why I now have a virtual assistant, and I'm putting a lot more things onto her, so that way I don't have to publish as much. Because the publishing, there are aspects of it that I really, really enjoy, like making covers. But there are aspects of it that it's like, somebody else can do that. And I don't want to get burned out on the publishing, and one of the ways that I make sure that I don't get burned out on the publishing is that I never treat it like a day job.
Okay. Then what's the trick with that? Like, how do you do that? How do you not treat it like a day job?
One of the things that we have is we do not have good internet out at the house, out at the property.
Same here. This show is broadcast off of AOL.
Yes, this show.
AOL
I'm
internet.
actually.
Sorry.
I am actually here in the library, in one of the reserved study rooms on this phone call, because,
really?
Yeah, we just don't have good internet, and so I can't make it seem like a job because I can't do it all the time. I have to go in someplace. I have to go into the coffee shop. It also means all my coffee bills are business expenses.
Yeah.
Right.
Business expenses. Yeah. That's pretty
cool. Yeah,
so
it's a lot of being excited about the future. We have so many cool things planned. Oh my God. And talking with people about what our plans are and where we're going and things like that. So, and we do take days off. Not very often, like 1 or 2 a month.
So wait,
I'm serious.
So you work every day other than 2 days in a month. So you work like 28 days.
Pretty much, yeah. And we write all the time too.
Okay, wait. But how long do you spend, how much time in a day do you spend writing?
My goal is 3,000 words a day, and that If I'm on, that will take me less than 2 hours. If I'm not, it'll take me 3 to 4.
3,000 words a day.
Wow.
Yes.
How do you take time to edit? Like, are you editing right on the fly, or do you go back?
I am editing on the fly. I am absolutely editing on the fly. I'm doing something called cycling. So what will happen is I'll start writing a scene, and I'll find myself starting to slow down. So I'll cycle back up to the top, and I'll go back through, and then I'll get a fresh burst of energy, and I'll keep writing, and then I'll cycle back up, and I'll start again, and then every time I take a break, I go back up and I go through it. And so by the time I finish my first draft, there is not a page that I have not gone over a couple of times before I'm done.
That
and generally
is
the
cool.
beginning, I've gone over it like 20 times.
Cycling. Becky, have you heard of this before? Do you do this?
No,
Okay.
I have not.
SK, have you heard of this before?
No, this is new to me, and I got to say it's a lot less annoying than the guys cycling on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. A peloton of douchebags. Anyway.
I like that. It's like, how many points do I get? Oh, wait, this is not a game.
And
Damn it.
just for information's sake, you mentioned your newsletter and whatever, and the link to that for people to sign up if they would like to is in the show notes.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. So we talked about the burnout. Wait, would you generate a book like every month? Just about. Is that what I'm hearing?
I can, but my books tend to be longer. I tend to write 60 to 90,000 word novels.
Okay. Would you be willing to share how much, like ballpark figure, I guess, a typical book brings in? Would you be willing
I
to share
have
that?
no idea.
Okay.
This is part of, okay, so because we are on the produce produce model, there are some books that make a tremendous amount of money. There are some books that do not. But for example, one of the things that we've done is we've started, this year we expanded in 3 areas. We expanded into translation, we expanded into audio, and we have Patreons now. So with translation, we translated one of my husband's science fiction novellas into German.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's for sale, $2.99, basically rough price. In Germany, because we translated it and people have found it and people are really digging it, we sell about 20 copies a day.
Oh, nice.
That's
impressive.
That is very impressive. What? That's nice.
Okay, so that
Becky,
is a
we're in the
single
wrong
title.
genre. What are we doing? Deadman's Tome is now be a sci-fi magazine, or we're not even. I gotta rethink some things. But yeah, okay. No,
So
this is good.
And we have a sci-fi magazine as well that we started last year called Boundary Shock Quarterly. And
which I have a cover up right now, by the way. What's on the screen now is Boundary Shock Quarterly number 6. Ray Guns and Space Babes. They got my attention.
Oh, yeah.
Nice title.
Sorry, I'm a simple man. They got my attention. You got guns and babes in space.
Yep, exactly. And that's pulpy. It's, oh my God, it has some amazing pieces in it. Ron Collins' work, that story is mind-blowing. It's just amazing. I wrote a mystery pulp science fiction, and so he's a private investigator who's on the moon, and of course the dame who comes in is green.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, it was fun. So what we have is we have a syndicate of 14 writers, might be more than that now, and they produce short fiction for us on theme every quarter, and we put it together and publish it. We use a service called Bundle Rabbit, and if you are not familiar with Bundle Rabbit, you need to go and check that out right now. Bundle Rabbit is a DIY bundling service. So you're aware of electronic bundles?
Yes.
Electronic book bundles? Okay. So through Bundle Rabbit, you can either put your work up in the general content area. Other people have themes for bundles, and they say, what else matches this theme? And they search on keywords, and they find your book, and they say, oh, can I include this in my bundle? And then they bundle it up, they do some advertising on it, and you have yet another revenue stream coming in.
Bundle Rabbit. Oh, wait. Does Bundle Rabbit also, do they feature horror? Does it work? Does it matter what genre you're in?
Is it different genre? Does
not matter what genre it is, and yes, there are a lot of horror bundles, particularly around Halloween. And I actually have stuff that's in horror bundles.
Okay. Yeah.
As well. Yes. So that's one way that you can work with Bundle Rabbit. The other way is through Collaborator, where you have instead of everyone puts their work up on Bundle Rabbit, and then it gets collected and put into an ebook bundle and put out on Amazon and Kobo and all those other places. You have everyone send you their manuscript. You are the one who creates the particular bundle or whatever it is, or magazine, as is in our case, and then we publish it through Bundle Rabbit, and they handle all the fiduciary responsibilities. We never have to touch the money. If you've ever done an anthology, you'll know that the money is the worst part of it. Yeah. Bundle Rabbit is one of those services that would help with that, and so they work on a royalty share with everything else. They just take a share of some of, I think it's 10% off the top, and they handle all the money. And that way we can publish a science fiction magazine.
Okay, wait. So do you also use like services like KDP or Ingram Spark or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I publish direct to KDP, to Kobo, to iTunes, and to Draft to Digital, as well as Ingram Spark for my paper.
Okay. All right, that's cool.
So, what about libraries? Are they an important source for you?
Absolutely, yes. And you can go directly to. So there are more than one library service that libraries use to purchase books from. One is Overdrive, and you can get to Overdrive through Kobo, and they have a really good deal going to Overdrive through Kobo. You can also get there through Draft to Digital. You can get to Overdrive, Biblioteca, and I think Baker Taylor. I don't remember what their third one is, but I know they have a third library deal. One of the things that we've also done, as I said this year, was we've gone to audio, and we go through Findaway Voices to publish our audio. They're, again, a distributor. They go out to 30 different audio audio stores, as it were. So they go to iTunes, they go to Audible, they go to a whole bunch of places. And one of the things that we have found has been really cool is that people will check out our audiobooks through libraries.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
So yes, libraries are very important. And I'm here at a library. We love our libraries.
All right.
And how's the audiobook process going for you?
We're still in the process of figuring that out because the first one wasn't available until June 1st, and the second one came out June 10th. As I said, we've already had library sales and a couple others on the one that went out on June 1st. This is a brand new series, again, very pulpy science fiction. So we will see how that goes. The audio that we have so far, before we did Findaway Voices, was through ACX, and it's done okay. It's not great, but it is another revenue stream, and that's one of the things that we would strongly advise is make sure you have all of those little little drops and trickles and streams that turn into a good deal of money by the time they all get accumulated together.
Lots of tributaries.
Yep.
I want to know about your Seattle Trolls series.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Let's bring that up.
Oh, those are fun. Those are way fun. I had set myself up that I was supposed to write this other book, and I had it set in my mind that, okay, I am determined. I am going to write this other book, but I didn't like it. And I wasn't having any fun.
Well, that's no good.
No, it's absolutely no good. You were talking about Burnout. One of the ways that I choose what I'm going to write next is through the giggle test.
Giggle test.
Giggle test, absolutely. When I have more than one project to choose from, I look at which one is going to make me giggle. And that's the one that I choose. And it doesn't necessarily have to have a light, happy theme. There could be a really high body count, and I'm still giggling.
Well, you know.
Gotta like that.
Are you related to me? I like this. That's
Yep.
smart.
And so the Seattle Trolls, Changeling Troll, started off because I was supposed to write this other book. We were at a kind of writer's retreat, and I couldn't write it because I was not having fun. And so we figured out what it was that I would have fun with. And when I start brainstorming for a new idea, because I needed to start writing the next day, I always think about what am I most concerned about at that time? What is the topic that I'm most fascinated by? And for those books, it was transformation.
Like
Because
transforming
she
from
is-
a human to a wolf
Or a troll.
or a troll.
Yes, she was a changeling. She was bought and brought into this human family and was raised as a human, even though she's a troll underneath. And then she breaks the changeling spell accidentally, and suddenly she is discovered who she really is.
A troll.
A troll.
Oh,
She's
cool.
an actual, honest-to-God troll.
Like,
She's
is
also
she-
a princess, but that's later.
Is she like an internet troll, like a 4chan or 8chan troll? Like, I mean, is she like that?
Nope, not like that.
Oh,
but
okay.
just like that, she's really gruff.
Okay. That's
And
good.
she's not going to put up with any of your shit.
Okay, that's good. How does she...
So people probably don't realize we have actual bridge trolls in Seattle.
Yes.
Oh, like homeless people?
No.
Oh,
Well, yes, we have those.
God.
But that's not what we meant.
because we got them here in Houston
the
too.
Fremont troll
Not
is
too many.
a beautiful statue underneath the Aurora Bridge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you said beautiful and troll at the same time. What? What? Did I hear that right? You got a beautiful statue under a
Yes.
bridge?
Of trolls.
Of trolls. That's it. Yes, just like we have the beautiful statue of Lenin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Well, so trolls. But so why the troll? What's the fascination with trolls?
As I said, that was about transformation and the idea that she was actually a troll underneath and coming to terms with what that meant. And the ugly duckling story. This is a different type of ugly duckling story. So that's where it all started. And that was all that I had for an idea. And then I just sat down and wrote the book.
You know, you
Because
generate so much content on a consistent basis. Like one thing I tend to ask my guests is the things you write, your stories and novels. Like, do they come from a personal place, or is it just so pragmatic? Is it so like, just? I mean, I don't know.
Are you
I
now,
think-
or have you ever been a troll?
I have a really, really, really vivid imagination.
Okay.
And so, no, stuff, I just make shit up. I am not
That's
a plotter. I do not write by outline. Everything just comes through whatever weird filter it is that I've got, and
or don't have.
It comes out. But yeah, it's not practical. It is, I get to go take a running leap off the cliff and let the wings form as I'm flying down.
Okay, I like that approach
Because that was actually my next question. Was, are you do you plan out your stories or not? And sounds like not. A whole lot of not.
Yeah,
Whole lot of not. I'd be bored. If I already know the end of this story, then I'm bored. I don't want to know the end of the story. I want to discover it just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Have you ever collaborated?
No.
Do you think that would work for you?
No.
She wants control, SK. Wait. Are you trying to collab with her? You want to get on a project?
No.
Because I think you could add to your control story.
Yeah, that's the trade-offs between planning and seat of the pants has been something I've wrestled with quite a bit myself.
Yeah. How's that?
Well, it's just part of the thing is that somebody like Leah, she's got a massive amount of experience creating stories, and I think that she has a unconscious understanding of structure that she might not even be able to articulate, but it's ingrained in her to an extent that she doesn't have to think about it.
That is very true.
Because my question.
But however, I would argue every single person has the same thing. They just have to get out of their way and let it go. You started learning story probably before you were even born. People, your parents read to you while you were in the womb. You know what story is. And so you have to trust yourself and trust the process and get out of your way and just let that story come. That is my advice.
I like that advice.
I think that's really good advice.
No, of course. I mean,
with the question of how do you get out of the way?
Yeah, get that Netflix off, huh?
Yeah, we don't own a TV.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, we don't own a TV.
No, but that's not getting out of your conscious way. That's just freeing up your time.
Yes.
Get rid of your phone too. Get rid of everything.
Yeah. Rachel Aronson has a thing about going from 2,000 words to 10,000 words an hour. And she has a little triangle that she discovered that was figuring out time of day, when was the best time of day for her to write, what was she about to write, and generating excitement. And for a pantser, those three things were actually really important. I write in the mornings because that's when I write best. I always say my editor is asleep still. That critical voice, right. They're sound asleep. She didn't get up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I have, so the 2-year-old can come out and play and dance and sing and run around in the yard. But so in addition to figuring out what time of day is best for you to write, when are you going to be most creative? The next thing is then generating that sense of excitement. Thinking about, oh my God, there's this really cool scene. I'm going to go write that. And generating that excitement will help get you into that mode of generating words. And so what you don't see is that when I start talking about my stories, I start bouncing up and down because I am so excited about what it is that I get to write next. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how excited I am about the novel that I'm currently working on and the next one. They're both going to be so cool.
I've noticed that.
Awesome.
I have noticed that now that you mention it, that when I talk about stuff that's in progress to somebody else, It does get me excited.
Mm-hmm. It should.
Now generate that same excitement 5 minutes before you sit down to write.
Oh, it depends. Like it happens.
Yeah.
Like
You can start training yourself to do that.
I believe so.
And that's again a way to prevent burnout, because you've already passed the giggle test. This is the thing that's going to make me giggle.
Test. I like the giggle test.
So you passed the giggle test, and now I am generating excitement. It's like, okay, what am I going to write today? Oh, it's that scene. Oh yeah, they're all going to die. Yay.
To me, the Google test translates to the badass test or something. Like, yeah, this scene's like something I definitely want to write. Oh yeah, I could do this. Like because there are many scenes I think about. I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna work. Nah, we gotta shift this. We gotta change it.
Now that is critical voice. That is your critical voice. That is your editor stepping in. Go tell them to leave.
Tell them to leave, huh?
Point to the door and tell them they do not get to be in the writing room.
So I should write the story about the pony, about the magical pony. I should write that story.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, you
No.
should write it. Whether anybody else should see it or not is another question.
Well, there you go.
Well, you guys sound like
At least
editors
get
now.
it out of your head.
You're the critical voice. But one question I have about, I guess fly on the seat of your pants versus plotting or planning. So, because I kind of have a similar method, I think a lot of people do as well. Like, they just sit down and eventually, like, the story comes out from them, right? You just start writing and what flows. But when you're not writing, like, of course, I have a day job. So when I'm going about my business, my day job, or this, that, or whatever with my kids, I can't help but to think about the story. And it's developing in my mind. So I am planning, but just like, I'm like going through the process. Oh, what's going to happen next? How am I going to do it? And my God, it makes it so much easier, because then when I sit down to write the next, pretty much add to it, it's like, I already thought about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that still like fly on the seat of your pants, or is that at that point plotting?
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
that was absolutely still viable seat of your pants, because you haven't written anything down yet, and so it's still very malleable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I see it in the mind's eye, like a movie, like, ooh, this is so great. But how do I convey what I'm seeing in a way that makes sense?
There's the magic.
Yeah.
Translating that hallucination in your head into words. That's the trick, man. That's why writers exist.
Without being too overbearing, because there's some authors where they describe every little detail to the point to where it's so just get to the point. But I guess some people like that. Like some people like Anne Rice because she goes into detail about the clothing people wear. But it's like, come on, most of the story could have been told in less chapters. With that said, I do like it.
The thing about description, and what makes, in my opinion, good description from bad description is their opinion with it. Remember, when you're in a story, the only thing that you are seeing is from the character's point of view, which means that there are opinions about everything.
Yeah.
You have an opinion about everything that you see, everything you read, everything you touch, everything you taste, all of those things. You have opinions. And so if you have description that has opinions in it, it's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
That's pretty good.
I think that's a really good description of description.
Yeah, and that makes let's say one of my favorite novels, with American Psycho, has a lot of description, but it has a lot of brand name description, like the clothing he wears. But it's like that because it's all about material. Well, Patrick Bateman, the main character, he's this psychopath. He doesn't have any real emotions, but he identifies with all this materials that he has, like the brand names that he wears. What does that matter, though? It doesn't mean anything. You know, throughout the whole book, it's like that.
Exactly, and you won't actually see anything. You will have, all you're going to have is an opinion about that brand. You're not actually going to see it in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, you know? It really, you think about it, that really conveys how empty that character is now I think about it.
Yep, exactly. And that's probably the point.
Yeah, that definitely would be the point. All right. So I know earlier I asked where we should start if we're new to your work. Let's say I'm up for epic fantasy?
Okay, epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, there's the Danish Empire trilogy, which starts with the Glass Magician, Ghost Dog, and, Glass Magician, Desert Heart, Ghost Dog. That's the three of them.
Ghost Dog. I like
Ghost
that.
Dog is the last one. And so those all take place in a world of my own making. That's a desert world. It's based on Turkish mythologies and things like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's what I would recommend if you like epic dark fantasy. If you like historic fantasy, the very first novel that I published, that was again published through New York, was Paper Mage, which is set in China in the Tong Dynasty.
Ooh,
and the main character loses her luck.
Loses her luck.
Her Joss.
Loses her luck, and all the issues that come forth from when you lose your luck. And she is a paper mage. She takes paper, folds it into the shape of an animal or a thing, and then she does magic, so it becomes what she has folded.
Oh, cool. So
she has lost.
I take it that you do a lot of research for these books.
For the historic ones, yes, absolutely. I do a lot of research for the historic novels.
Okay, so for the one set in China, like you did a lot of research, I guess Chinese culture.
Yep.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that? About that process
and how does that fit into your writing day? That's separate from the actual writing, true?
Yep. That's in the afternoons. Research is in the afternoons. I will admit I am a geek. I like history. I read a lot of nonfiction, and whatever it is that I'm writing currently, I will read a lot of nonfiction about it. For example, I just finished off an urban fantasy series that was set in Portland, and the Portland bridges were very important. And I actually one of the characters in the novel was supposedly an engineer of those bridges. And so doing a lot of study about the Willamette River and the Columbia and the bridges and the history of Portland. And so I have big, deep tomes about bridges of Portland at this point, as well as because all the magic in that system, I always come up with new magic systems. All the magic in that system was herb-based. And so she grew her own herbs and did her own concoctions with all of those herbs. Now, one of the things that I think is fun is that I grow a lot of things out on the property, and so I make my own teas out of herbs that I grow and things like that. So, yes, I do a lot of study. I do a lot of research.
You seem to have a thing about bridges, too.
Yes.
Bridges. I noticed that.
I have a thing about bridges as well. Yes, but the series that I'm just finishing, I'm in the last book of a 3-book trilogy. I didn't actually do any research for because it's, again, epic dark fantasy. It's all made up. All of it's made up. So I don't have to do any research. And I find that's frequently what I'll end up doing is that I'll do a book that requires no research whatsoever, and I'll just go and I'll just play. And then I have another book that has much more research, and I'll do that in the evening, and then in the morning I'll write again.
Okay. But even with the epic fantasy, let's say the Glass Magician, you said it has like Turkish elements to it?
Turkish myth, yeah.
Turkish myth. Okay, so you did some research. I mean,
I have huge bookshelves full of mythology, and so some of it was specific research, but some of it was no, I'd already read about all of that.
Wow.
Interesting.
You know, it'd be interesting as well, SK, to get Leah and
Kelly.
Kelly together.
I was thinking that. Yeah. What a cool pair to have on together.
No,
So
wait,
Kelly
wait.
Evans.
Yeah. Just what do you know about medieval? Do you know much about like medieval history?
No, I do not. I know a lot more about Asian than European history. Asian and non-European. That was kind of my study. Was anything that was not European.
Oh, okay. Well, but we did Empress Wu with Kelly.
Yeah.
On Real Monsters. But yeah, it's true. Kelly is totally a medieval historian.
I didn't know Kelly had much knowledge, or I wasn't aware how much knowledge Kelly had of Asian history, of Chinese history, and stuff like that. It'd be
Well, she got some anyway.
yeah. Maybe because we did a themed episode way back in the day when I had another co-host back at that time, where where Kelly Evans schooled us about medieval life, you know, based on what we learned in school, which is pretty much you're all dirty peasants, and then what actually happened based on, I guess, what you can actually look into and read and stuff like that. But see, I'm not really aware of what did my high school education teach me about Chinese history? Not really much.
Nothing.
They're all high on opium.
Yeah, exactly.
No, if anything, honest to God, I don't know that we learned anything at all in up through high school about China.
No. What about the part when they helped build the railroads? that part in the history class is always like, oh, so these people came over. They're pretty much, slaves for a little bit, but they weren't. But then they, they don't really talk about that too much. They kind of brush over that. Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting. But you know what? So wait. Having done this research on Chinese history, how much knowledge do you have about like what's going on now in China? Are you aware of what's going on now in China?
I have a little bit of I have a personal interest in what's going on right now, both in China as well as in Hong Kong.
Oh,
because Hong Kong, they're having
they're having a huge protest,
right? Particularly since I'm not sure if you're aware, there were publishers who were disappearing in Hong Kong.
No.
People, picked up off the street and disappeared and coming and not showing up for another 18 months and coming out of Chinese prisons and things like that. So, yeah, it's been kind of scary.
And what did these publishers publish? Like, why would China make them disappear for a brief time?
News publishers? Are these news publishers?
No, these were people who were publishing true histories.
No, you can't go around telling the truth in China, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. See, what truth do they not?
And so right now there's China is trying to pass a law, I believe, that people will be oh God, now I'm forgetting. It's too late. But yeah, it's something about how people will be sent to China in order to do their...
I listened to a little bit too on Subverse, not Subverse, the porn game that's coming out, but Subverse, they do... No, seriously, it's a weird branding thing. Tim Pool, he has like the Subverse channel where he covers like news and all this stuff, whatever. Try to be like non-biased. But I think sentences that have 7 years or more, you'll be sent to China.
Yep.
Which is...
From Hong Kong?
Yeah,
Yes.
you go from Hong Kong to China, and they're having this huge.
Well,
deal
I
with
mean,
it,
they
a
don't
lot of
have
protests.
the space for re-education camps in Hong Kong.
Exactly.
You know what? There's other kind of camps too that kind of have my curious attention, but no one really talks about it. Like, you know, like people that are like Muslim are in camps, right? I mean, no one talks about that shit. No one talks about that fucking shit.
They have all kinds of camps. I mean, they have just straight up hard labor camps.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, there's a serious problem
It's
over there in China.
It's almost like they're not very nice people.
Yeah,
in charge.
They want to keep it hush hush. No one tell our secrets. And they have like what now the social credit system. You got to be nice if you want to get a good.
Yeah.
If you want to have those
And
good credit
our
points.
moral superiors in Silicon Valley worked very hard to create that for them.
That's right.
Good job, Google. Don't be evil. Notice how they got rid of that, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, we're some interesting times. I know this show tries not to get political, but it's just so weird. We tread the line. We got to talk about certain things. We got to bring it up every now and then, you know. One thing that always drives me mad is, or grinds my gears, if you will, is when people who like can't speak freely, and because you speak freely or you say something that people don't want you to say, when you're quarantined or told to shut up or silence, deplatform, especially by the government. Oh man.
Well, you know what? Leah's got the solution, man. Just don't be on social media, and you don't have to worry about it.
I like your solution. I want to go to a small house too, a tiny house. The house I have right now costs way too much money. Damn.
You got kids. Good luck with that.
Yeah, Leah, can I get a tiny house with kids? I got like 2 kids.
Supposedly, if you watch the HGTV, yes, people have tiny houses with kids. I think they're crazy.
I grew up in a house that was like, I don't know, 1,400 square feet with 9 people in it. That qualifies. And you don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. It explains a lot, SK.
Doesn't it, though?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Okay, wait. How do you feel about people being offended by your work?
I have done the best that I possibly can in terms of the research. Of course, I'm going to get something wrong. There is no such thing as a perfect book. Let me know, and I will fix what I can.
All right, let me clarify what I mean by this. I don't mean by research, of course. I'm talking. Of course, you're gonna get that. You can get that. I'm talking about the people.
Have you ever employed a sensitivity reader?
Yes.
Fuck no.
Yay!
we found one.
That's one of the more ridiculous concepts I could ever even. I couldn't even imagine such a thing.
I mean, I do try to get my facts correct when I am writing about a culture that is not mine. I do have, I have had people who are Chinese or Japanese read my works to make sure that I'm not being horrifically offensive.
Okay.
But it's not the same, I don't think.
No, that's not the same.
No. I mean, you're just trying to be That's trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's something any responsible writer should strive to achieve, I think.
Yes.
What I'm referring to, and it's good that you do that. You got to be respectful. What I'm referring to is certain people who would look at, let's say, like Ray Guns and Space Babes and be like, "Oh my God, she put Space Babes in the title. Isn't that like?"
Nope. These are not my readers.
But that doesn't stop from having an opinion.
They can certainly go ahead and have an opinion. That is just fine. However, I have an opinion of them as well.
High five to that. I would do that.
Right.
Yeah, God, that was cringy. But it's I agree. like, I don't try to purposely offend people, but then again, of course, Deadman's Tome publishes a lot of horror, so horror is going to offend. Like, there's no other way about it. Like, you're talking about death.
Art is going to offend. If you're doing true art, you are going to offend somebody, and that is a good thing.
That's right. It's even better if you offend the government.
To a point.
Yeah. Oh. You know when he did it when they started coming for you.
If you're moderating your creative output to avoid offense, you're just going to end up with oatmeal.
Yep.
Now, I like oatmeal, but it's not art.
No, and besides, you got to put sugar in it or something. Otherwise, it's just eating a bunch of oats. I mean, you eat it.
Now that's offensive.
Oh, so wait a second. You eat your oatmeal without sugar?
No, brown sugar.
Brown sugar? Well, you have something. You don't eat it just dry, do you?
No,
I'm not a horse.
I'm just giving you shit.
Just to make sure. Got to fact check SK here. Yeah, I know I asked you some pretty tough questions, Ms. Cutter, but I asked the same thing to my guests as well. See, I treat everybody equally. I enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot.
Do you watch horror movies?
We watch very few movies. We see them every once in a while, but we're kind of lazy about that.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you have a horror?
We can't ask the horror movie question then.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
I don't watch horror movies. I have far too good of an imagination, and they just scare me.
So you've never seen one? You've never seen a horror movie?
I watched Dawn of the first Dawn of the Dead movie, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which is the classic because I have no choice.
Would you watch it again?
No.
And
why is that?
Did you
It scared the Jesus out of me, and I still have nightmares about it.
That's all I need. That's all I got. All right, that's good.
Did you grow up in the Seattle area?
No, I grew up in Minneapolis.
Okay. Because we had this thing when I was a kid, on the local TV called Nightmare Theater. It was on like Friday nights at 11 o'clock or something like that. And some local guy would get on in a really bad Dracula outfit and introduce, these black and white horror movies, Frankenstein and Wolfman and all those kinds of things. That was a fun way to spend Friday nights with friends.
Oh, I bet so. Wow. Oh, wait, I have to pardon myself real fast. SK, can you hold the fort real fast? I'm sorry, I gotta excuse myself. I gotta file some paperwork. No. I gotta play the banjo.
The issue is that my library is closing in 15 minutes, so
that's okay. SK, you can hold it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I'll be back.
10 minutes. Jesus.
It won't take
how
that
much
long.
beer has he had?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
He's been peeing. He's got to go pee because he's been drinking beer. Just wrap it up, for God's sakes. So you and your husband also host writers groups.
We host 2 different writers' lunches where all we do is talking business. We are not doing craft workshops at all because I don't want to read your stuff. I don't have time. I'm sorry. I'm writing too much and publishing too much and everything like that. I don't have the patience. I am not a good teacher when it comes to that. I will write business books, but I am not necessarily a good one-on-one teacher. And it is good to know your strengths as well as your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
So we believe in giving back to the community. And so we hold lunches where we get a bunch of writers together and we talk business for a couple hours. And we try to do that 2 different groups once a month.
Well, that's pretty cool. And having attended one of those fairly recently, I have to say that the framing it around business is actually a very pleasant change of pace. I've done writing groups and I've done retreats and all that kind of stuff, and it gets, writers are weird people.
Writers are weird people. They're also really introspective, and the world is changing all the time right now. I mean, we've seen so much change in indie publishing and in terms of being able to run your own business from your laptop and all like that, and how you can reach people. And so it's really good, I think, for writers to be able to talk to each other about, well, this worked for me. Have you tried this? How about this? We just came back from we go to a quarterly business meeting down in Portland with other writers, and learned all about all kinds of really cool stuff, some of which we're going to put into the works. For example, serialization, trying to serialize one of your own novels.
What do you mean by that?
That means publishing a 1,000 word or so excerpt of a novel every other day, every third day, until it's done. Kind of an advertisement.
Okay, so you would publish the novel in like chunks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Publish where? Like on a blog or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Publish it on a blog. Bring more traffic to your blog. That's part of why you would do it. But it would also already be published on, as a book on your regular retailers, right? And at the start as well as the end of each one of your serialization posts, you'll put links to, here's my novel. If you don't want to read just this little part, here, go buy it. Huh. And by the way, here books 2 and 3 and 4 are already available for pre-order. You can go and get these as well if you're enjoying this one.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea.
Yes, and so we learned about that this past Sunday at one of these business meetings. So we really enjoy being able to sit around and talk business with writers, because we get good ideas, they get good ideas, the world gets more art. It is win-win-win.
You know what?
And frankly, it's a lot more fun from my perspective. It's a lot more fun to talk to writers about business than to talk to them about writing.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, miles ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I much prefer talking about business. I much prefer talking about where the world is going, what's going to happen. With traditional publishing, how is that going to be working in the next year or so? Now that they've continued to say, oh yeah, we're not making any money. I don't know if you've read one of the recent issues of Publishers Weekly. One of the big TradPub 5 came out and said that though their ebook sales were all down, as well as their print book sales, they still showed a profit because of the TV sales, their Netflix sales.
Oh.
So their profit's coming from the TV, not from the books.
Exactly. Which means that if you are a traditionally published author, you can just kiss your IP goodbye. They are never going to let go of that if they believe that they're going to be able to exploit it in other avenues.
Yeah.
And this would be an interesting thing to talk about. How do you get your story in front of people who can get a project greenlit?
Exactly. So right now, right now in Las Vegas, or this past weekend in Las Vegas, was the licensing expo. Right?
Oh, really? How have I never heard of this thing?
I don't know. So, if you want to learn all about how to license your works and things like that, and all about the licensing,
Go to Vegas.
expo that just happened, Dean Wesley Smith is offering a Learn Along lecture series where he has recorded a whole series of videos talking about what it was that he went to do, how it was that his company, WMG, which has over 600 books published currently, how they went to this expo, what it is that their takeaways, how they learned about licensing, what they learned about licensing, what it is that they're planning on doing in the future in order to get their properties properly licensed. So I would recommend that if people are interested in that. If you only have a single book, I'm not so sure that I'd be interested in licensing at this point. You've got other things to look at.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, makes sense.
You got a catalog to build.
You've got a catalog to build, exactly. If you've got a catalog, you should be thinking about this, because remember, your licensing is so individual. There is no such thing as a single license, right? Your IP can be sliced so thinly. There's a
and I remember from, I was I was considering being a screenwriter a few years ago, and one of the bits of information that made a lot of sense, but you don't think about it, and that is, as a writer, you are in negotiations over your IP. You have all the power until you sign your name.
Yep.
Once you sign your name, you got nothing.
That's true.
So unless you've got the terms in the deal you want at the time you sign your name, you'll never see it.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And what are some of those terms that you need to have in those contracts? Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Because once it's signed and done with, that's it.
They don't care about you anymore. You are not interesting to the media companies at all once you signed your name.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's good to have an attorney to look over the contract.
Yes, not
what's going on here?
Get an agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's always perplexed me about agents. Why would you hire somebody who is not a practicing lawyer give you legal advice about a legally binding contract? This makes no sense whatsoever.
So you go with a lawyer over an agent?
Absolutely.
But they have to have experience in that area, though.
Well,
correct. You have an idea.
You don't want to bring your nephew in because he just graduated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, you need an IP lawyer.
Yep.
Or an entertainment lawyer, depending on what types of contracts you're signing.
So not Nick Rekieta, not him. Just a name drop him. Sorry.
Would.
He's a YouTube lawyer. He might actually know. Man, that guy seems to know fucking everything. Jesus. Okay, Miss Cutter. We're kind of wrapping up here, kind of approaching the end. We did have some news stories to talk about, but we don't have enough time to really get into it. So I'll just. What can I say? New York decriminalized sex work. Great. Good job. That's good. They need to put that in Houston, because I'm getting tired of getting pulled over by the police. Cuba Gooding Jr. got Me Too'd. And there's a man with a bunch of dildos on his back. Okay. So that covers the news. Yeah, Miss Cutter, that's kind of what we talk about. I'm sorry. People, it's just goofy stuff. People do goofy stuff, and we talk about it. It's just so, because to me, like when you write a story, you think you're creating fiction, but then when you look at what people are actually doing, it's like, no, you're really not.
It's so much crazier than you can imagine.
And they're actually doing it.
Yep, real life can be a lot crazier than fiction because fiction has to make sense.
That is true. That is true. All right, Miss Cutter. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you enjoyed this, and feel free to come back on whenever your new books comes out. You have pretty much a golden ticket. You can hop on any time. Just let us know.
Thank you.
It's been great having you on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
For those listening,
it's been great talking to you guys. You guys have a lovely, lovely evening because I've got to take off because the library is closing.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. All right. For those listening,
Thank you.
Definitely smash that like button, press the share button, subscribe. And look, if you're still listening and you're not a patron yet, you're going to miss that private show. You're going to miss it. All it takes $1 to go to patreon.com/deadmanstome. Pledge $1. It's cheaper than water. And you get to watch me. Like, I guarantee you I'm going to vomit.
Do stupid shit.
Yeah. And it's not the only private show. We have like other ones planned as well. Not only am I taking random shots, there's another show planned later on where I'll be eating what is that? It's like a jelly bean thing where the different flavors, nasty flavors, like vomit and shit and stuff like that. Toothpaste. Like who would eat a jelly bean that tastes like toothpaste? But I would.
Who would make a jelly bean that tastes like that? What kind of sick, twisted mind would make that jelly bean?
A bully.
A bully.
That's who. Bean Boozled. Bean Boozled. That's what it is. Bean Boozled. So we have that coming up as well. So, yeah, there you go. Become a patron. Catch that private show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Y'all take it easy.
Night.